Hey, what's going on, everybody? Just wanted to share this video about getting through a 5 day water fast. Now, it was interesting. I talked about a water fast the other day, and there was somebody who had commented this idea that water fasting is so bad for your body because it can kill you. And they thought that water fasting meant that you don't drink or you drink limited amounts of water for 5 days straight. And I gotta say, that's a terrible idea. I would never tell anybody not to drink water. And with that said, so basically, what a water fast is you drink or you don't eat anything and you drink nothing but either like water or tea, 0 calories, zero sugar, zero carbs, zero nutrients, zero anything for 5 days straight or however many days you set. And so that's what a water fast is. And with that said, with what I did with this water fast, it was 5 days, 5 full days of no eating, only drinking water or tea. And it was interesting because my conclusion on that sense, if you're looking to do it and you're wondering how hard it's going to be or the challenge, first of all, I would say don't even think about the how difficult it's going to be because that's going to stop you in the first place. Yes, it's going to be challenging, but depending on where you are in your life, whether you're an incredibly fit person or you're a couch potato or you're looking to become more fit or you're a very motivated person or unmotivated, I mean, depending on where you are on that spectrum of fitness, there's probably going to be some level of understanding that this isn't going to be the hardest thing you have to get through in your entire life. Most likely. I mean, if you're incredibly fit and you run marathons, I would say running one marathon and preparing for it requires more discipline and hard work than a 5 day fast. And the toughest thing about a 5 day fast isn't just feeling hungry. For me personally, there was never any like super negative effects. I wasn't like laying in bed sweating and my body aching and vomiting in the toilet in the middle of the night. And that just might be my experience. Maybe someone else has that. Maybe someone else is dealing with like migraines or pains or body aches. Like, always talk to your doctor who can give you advice on your specific situation. But when it comes to what I felt was incredibly helpful was simply, and I use that term fairly loosely because simply mindfulness. And I use the word simply relatively loosely because mindfulness isn't always simple. And most of us haven't practiced enough or don't know enough about how to practice it enough to make it that useful. So when it comes to the topic of mindfulness, right, just being able to observe your thoughts, and it might be different definitions for this depending on who you listen to, but overall, I think people can generally agree that being mindful is just either being aware of your thoughts and not letting them guide you, right? You've got the mind that we think controls the body or whatever, and like we act on all of our thoughts and our urges and everything like that. But when it comes to mindfulness, and sometimes those things can make us feel bad, sometimes those things can make us feel good, sometimes they lead us to bad things, sometimes they lead us to good things. And ultimately, mindfulness is being understanding of those thoughts, being aware of them, and being able to use them in a way that helps us become, the best that we can be. And some people take it to another level, which would be a spiritual level, where just total pure mindfulness throughout your entire life is just your bliss. And that's fine too, but in the sense that we're talking about more on a, regular basis, how being mindful, being present in the moment, and not letting your thoughts about the future affect you, or not letting your concerns about the past, or your insecurities about the past, or worrying about or concerns about the future concern you, but just understanding that most of us within this very moment right now, as I'm sitting right now, there's not a single thing or the situation that is negatively affecting me right now. And for most people, that is the case in this situation. I mean, yes, you can pull up your phone and look at your bank account, or you can pull up your laptop and go into your messages and find all the people that are talking about you, or you can, be somewhere where there's a lot of cars and you probably shouldn't just be walking, aimlessly, blindly into a bunch of cars, right? So those situations aside, unless you like pull that stuff up, in general, if you put that stuff away and you find like a good spot on in on the sidewalk, and you're able to find a bench in a park or something, in that moment, regardless of all the stresses of your life, regardless of what's happening, you can be mindful. And you can be in the moment, aware of the present situation. And through this practice of mindfulness, it can go many ways, as I mentioned. So a lot of people talk about it in a spiritual sense, but there's a lot of research now about how it can help reduce anxiety, reduce stress, improve overall happiness, and all of those types of things. So, with that said, in getting over, in getting through my 5 day fast, one of the biggest challenges was not the physical hunger pains, wasn't being hangry, although I had an interesting time just being aware of all there's just being hangry, right? Even though I knew I was hangry, I would still be hangry. I couldn't, it's not like I could just change being hangry. So I'm not saying like being mindful and suddenly like, turning every moment into a blissful moment, but just this idea of just being conscious, being thoughtful, aware of your thoughtfulness in terms of that situation of being hungry, of craving food, of feeling like a lack of energy, and feeling these desires to go get more food and like eat that big messy hamburger or hot dog or whatever it is that you desire to eat during a fast. The thing that helped me most was simply being mindful. Now, again, personally, I did not have any negative physical effects. There was one day where I was having like a bit of a cold sweat, so that kind of concerned me for a little bit. And there was another day where I had a little bit of a headache, but it wasn't enough to really be concerned of. So depending on your health situation, again, speak with a doctor, talk to a certified physician about your situation, maybe even go to a facility that helps to monitor you while you are doing a fast. But with that said, overall, I think the most difficult part of that was just my hangry thoughts, my food. I have to go get food. I can quit this. I don't need to keep going. There's no reason for me to keep going and doing this, and overcoming those thoughts as they were, because that's all they were. They were urges. They were thoughts. Yes, my body physiologically wanted to eat food, but if I really wanted to get through the fast, it really came down to a decision of wanting to do it and then just being aware. And as Eckhart Tolle, who wrote the book The Power of Now, talks about, being conscious isn't just being awake and doing stuff. Being conscious is his true meaning of being conscious is to be conscious of your thoughts, to be aware that you are a thinking being and that your thoughts do not have to become you, in the sense that your thoughts don't necessarily have to, you don't necessarily have to act on every thought and urge. Yes, you can, again, if you want to do that, if you're aware and whatever. But with that said, it's a great book, Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle, and a very powerful book. A lot of people talk about it. It comes from a very spiritual perspective of the topic of like mindfulness, consciousness, and all of those things. But it's interesting to, like, if you're like an or if you're an athlete, right? You're trying to be fit. It's good to learn from bodybuilders, elite athletes, all of those things, because even if you're not going to become an elite athlete, it's good to at least kind of learn from that perspective for your fitness, and it'll help take you. If you follow people that are average, you're only ever going to get average results. But if you follow people that are much more successful in a certain area, you're going to get those better results. So there are some very interesting spiritual teachers out there, such as Eckhart Tolle, who's written a great book, and they teach some things that are maybe beyond where some of us want to go spiritually, right? But those topics, mindfulness, which doesn't just have to be spiritual, it's a topic that's being discussed throughout many modern like research papers, and how valuable it can be in just being present in the moment. But all of that can be incredibly helpful. So with that said, and it can be helpful in every area of your life, social situations, and again, Eckhart Tolle comes at it from a very spiritual perspective and discusses it because it's commonly known as a spiritual practice, including fasting is even considered a spiritual practice. But I think more and more they don't really need to be. I don't. I think that fasting, the word fasting, is often in a dictionary often tied to a religious thing, but I think it should just be tied to a health thing now, just personal physical health. Um, and with that said, learning these very reputable people. These people have done it and taken it to the next level. It's good to apply for situations like these when in our daily life we're doing things that might give us stress, that might make us feel difficulty, that we might feel challenged about. And if you're having a challenge with something like fasting, how do you get through that? Mindfulness can help. And if you can really be able to observe your situation, you can definitely apply that into other areas, such as work. If you're afraid to ask for the raise, the pay raise, then how can you overcome that? By being mindful in the situation. Like, there's absolutely nothing that needs to stop you from asking for a raise besides your own potential fear. Or going to talk to that cute person at the grocery store. The only thing that stops most people is their thoughts. There's rarely ever a physical barrier there. Making that video, writing that book, starting that business, investing in that stock. The majority of the things that prevent us from doing things in life and going through these challenges, or even physical fitness challenges, improving our body, improving our wellness, improving all the areas of our life, spiritual, financial, mental, physical, etc., etc., improving all of those areas, a lot of it can come down to mindfulness and being in the present moment. And just thinking about this in another sense, the topic of mindfulness, there's been some research in the area of mindfulness of how it can increase happiness. And increasing happiness is ultimately what we all really seek to find in life. And just deciding on what makes us happy, I mean, that's probably the biggest challenge most of us have, is deciding what truly makes us happy. We might set a huge goal, a huge financial goal, a huge business goal, but does that really make you as a person happy? Maybe you're a free-spirited person that wants to go travel the world. Now, how can you accomplish that? So, or you're a free-spirited person that just wants to be able to fall in love with tons and tons of different people, or have like intimate physical relationships with people, or whatever it is that you want to do. Or maybe you want to just become a famous video game Twitch streamer. I don't know, whatever that is. Ultimately, in terms of that search of happiness, in terms of that search of what fulfills us and makes us happy, a lot of these books and research have discussed the power of mindfulness and helping us find that. Because in the present moment of what we're doing right now, we can definitely find joy, regardless of what we're doing. Whether we're in that big gold bathroom in that luxury resort that cost us, some people's annual salaries, or whether we're just sitting in a field somewhere just enjoying the fresh air. Whatever that is, mindfulness has some tremendous power in helping us find happiness. And I think that was ultimately what helped me get through the 5-day fast. And not because it necessarily made me happy, but because it helped me just simply be aware and conscious of what I was thinking about, and being able to manage those things, and thoughts are things, which is why I'm just calling them things. But anyway, with that, I hope you find happiness in your day. Thank you for watching this video, and have a wonderful day.